So MrBeast is one of the biggest YouTubers on the platform, and many people think that Jimmy is one of the richest YouTubers alive, but not many people realize that Jimmy just doesn't take all the revenue that comes from MrBeast. No, he actually gets a fixed salary that he set up for himself as the owner of the company. And that's what we're gonna find out today. How much money does he earn? Because he has a family, you know, he has a girlfriend, he has a dog, probably has a house that he has to take care of. So we're gonna find out how much money does he actually earn. And yes, I'm gonna disprove everyone who thinks that Jimmy's a millionaire. So we're gonna have to go through a lot of math to figure this out. We're gonna have to find out how much money the MrBeast Corporation makes, and then we're gonna have to like cut down how much salary each person makes. It's a long process, but let's just start off with the ways the channel / and or the corporation makes money. There's three main ways each YouTuber makes money: from ad revenue, from sponsorships, and from merch. So when it comes to ad revenue, MrBeast has a ton of channels that he can get money from, mainly his MrBeast, MrBeast Gaming, and Beast Reacts channel. But most people would be surprised to find out that he has a lot more channels. If you're a Chad bilingual person who speaks multiple languages, then you might know that MrBeast has multiple language channels, whether they're Spanish, Russian, Brazilian, aka Portuguese, or Hindi, or German, all of the above. He's got languages in almost every, he's got channels in almost every major language, and so he appeals to a wider audience, and these channels are quite profitable. So let's start off with the main MrBeast channel. It earns a casual $1.2 million a month. Yeah, they're not rich. Anyway, MrBeast Gaming doesn't earn that much, 350k, but it has a lower CPM because gaming's oversaturated. The Beast Reacts channel surprisingly earns more money at almost $400,000 with a CPM of just 2.5 because, well, the only thing more oversaturated than gaming is reaction channels. The MrBeast Spanish channel earns $612,000 with a CPM of 4 because apparently Spanish channels have a higher CPM for reasons. The Beast Reacts channel in Spanish earns almost $100,000 because, once again, higher CPM because Spanish. The MrBeast channel in Russian, however, earns practically no money at only about $54,000 with a CPM of just 1.5 because Russia literally gets no CPM at this point. The MrBeast Brazilian channel earns $96,000 with a CPM of 3.5 because Brazilian channels get a pretty good CPM. The Spanish gaming channel earns $102,000 with just a CPM of 2.5 because, once again, Spanish is, they're gonna get like more CPM, and then since it's gaming, it's gonna go down because oversaturated. So that's one way he earns money. We're gonna add them up at the end and see how much he actually earns with all those things. But now we go to sponsorship. He only gets sponsorships on 3 channels: MrBeast, MrBeast Gaming, Beast Reacts, because his sponsorships from Beast Philanthropy go back into the food drive, and no one's gonna sponsor a shorts channel, and the rest of them don't matter because they're just re-edited videos. So the MrBeast channel earns 1.32 sponsorships a month. Now you might be like, that's nothing, but each sponsorship is apparently $400,000. So yeah, at the end of each month, he earns about $522,000 just off of sponsorships off the MrBeast channel. The MrBeast Gaming channel gets more sponsorships, 2.64, but only earns about $150,000 per sponsorship. The Beast Reacts channel gets about 2 sponsorships a month with $100,000 for each, most likely, and so they earn about $200,000 off of that. So each big YouTuber has merch, just like MrBeast. A lot of people go to his merch site. He earns $2.5 million a month off of merch, but you got to remember, he doesn't just take that money and just go away. No. He's got to give money back to like the producers and manufacturers to actually make the t-shirts, hoodies, and whatever other type of clothing he's making, because if he doesn't do that, his merch line's gonna stop. So he only actually keeps about 1/3 of it because, I mean, there's no way MrBeast makes a $10 shirt only to sell it for $50, right? I mean, that's high rate robbery, but other than that, I don't think Jimmy's that bad of a guy, right? I mean, he seems like a pretty good guy, you know, giving away millions of dollars. He seems like a good guy. So he really only earns about $825,000 off of it. And when I say he, I mean the corporation, but I'm just gonna use the word he because saying corporation every time is just not as fun. So any normie YouTuber only has these 3 ways to earn money, but no, MrBeast is a Chad. He has another way to earn money: his businesses, Feastables and MrBeast Burger. Feastables, as of May the 9th, has sold 10 million chocolate bars. That's quite a lot of chocolate bars, and apparently each month he makes $3 million in revenue. But 75% of that goes right back into manufacturing and production and stuff like that because, well, he only has 5 ingredients in the chocolate, and you might look at me and you'd be like, that doesn't make sense. There's only 5 ingredients. But he specifically says that chocolate is quite healthy, which means the ingredients are natural, and everyone knows that natural ingredients just cost more because they're natural. And so 75% of that goes right back into everything. So at the end of the month, he really only earns about $750,000 off of Feastables. So MrBeast Burger is surprisingly not as profitable, only earning about $2.7 million a month, but only 70% of all that goes right back into the business because there's not a physical location, so he doesn't have to pay for that, and he doesn't have to pay for deliveries because Uber Eats and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, he's earning about like $810,000 per pretty good. So now we move on to the liabilities, because we've talked about how much money he makes. We're gonna add it up at the end, but now we talk about liabilities. Once we do that, we're gonna add everything up, then minus it, and then we're gonna like find out how much money he makes. When I say liabilities, I mean money that he has to give away, aka money that he doesn't end up keeping. And when I say he, I actually mean Jimmy this time. So he has to pay employees, obviously, editors, cameramen, all his friends. He's got to pay people for the language channel, like the translators, all that stuff. So when it comes to employees, Wikipedia, the most trustworthy source, says 60 plus people. No, Jimmy does not have 60 people working for him. He probably has 90 people. There's no channel with 100 million subscribers only having 60 people work for them. So now we're going to find out their wages. So a minimum wage in North Carolina is about $6.25. So they're definitely making more because they're working for MrBeast at the end of the day. Come on. But first, we're going to look at the editors and cameramen because they get paid significantly more for being editors and cameramen. So there's actually like a physical number for how much money the editors make. You know, like when you search stuff up, it came in the box and you can trust that box. Anyway, apparently the editors make about $11,011 a month. It seems pretty legit, I guess. And that means he has about 5 editors because, you know, he's got multiple channels, got to manage them all. So 5 editors seems good. Cameramen. Apparently cameramen in North Carolina on average make about $23 and on the high end make about $47. So naturally, we're saying 47. He has about 2 to 3 cameramen, so each cameraman earns about $6,580 a month. Yeah, those are pretty rich cameramen. Anyway, so we're gonna add all that stuff at the end. But now we go on to everyone else. Everyone else being the other 80-ish people. And this number is very flexible. You could say maybe Jimmy pays them $9 an hour. You could say he pays them $50 an hour. I went with 22. I don't know why. It just seemed like a good number. I went with it. So $22 an hour for 8 hours a day for 7 days a week for 4 weeks a month. Each person's earning about $4,928. You gotta multiply that by 80 to get like the real number, but we'll do that at the end. Now we go on to the language channels. So I might have not been too clear about this, but basically you have to pay people to translate stuff unless you like speak a language really well. They translate it and then you gotta have people edit it and then like they fix stuff up. Long story short, costs a lot. So you gotta pay the translators. So I'm assuming he has 15 translators, like 5 for each channel, because he has like a Spanish one, a Russian, and a Brazilian. In reality, his Spanish is probably like 9 or 10 people, whereas his Russian and Brazilian are like 2 or 3 people. Anyway, 15 people, $30 an hour, because apparently in North Carolina, that's like the average wage. It's like 26 for a translator, but I'm just adding it up because MrBeast, for 8 hours a day, for 7 days a week, for 4 weeks a month, that's about $6,720. For 15 people, that's quite a hefty price, but we'll add it up at the end. So now we move on to rent. You might be like, what do you mean rent? I mean, MrBeast probably owns his warehouse. I think he said that before. He also probably owns his gaming studio and the place where he records his reaction videos. So what rent is he paying? Well, assuming he owns all those 3 buildings, he probably has to pay rent for videos because, you know, he's sometimes in like a football stadium, and I'm sure MrBeast just doesn't own a football stadium, so he has to go rent it out every time. And, you know, since he makes 1 video a month on his main channel, probably adds up. Now we got into the big ticket item, the one that everyone loves, taxes. Now, as much as I would love to avoid taxes, I can't legally. Neither can MrBeast. And so he pays about $2.5 million worth of taxes a month. Yeah, that number is huge. And if he wasn't paying that, he would definitely not be in debt. I mean, he's not in debt. You'll have to watch to the end to find out. Anyway, so now we get on to the video cost, because, you know, he actually has to pay for the stuff he does in his videos. So really he only has 3 main channels: MrBeast Gaming, Beast Reacts. On the MrBeast channel, he spends about $2 million per video. And since he only uploads like once a month, it's $2 million a month. Now this number is highly inflated because of the recent video that is the Chocolate Factory video, and it like kind of inflated it by taking the averages and stuff. Normally it would be like 1.7 million, but it's inflated. So now we move on to the MrBeast Gaming channel. It averages about $150,000 per video, and he doesn't record 1 video a month. It's like 1.5, 2 videos a month. So we're just gonna take 1.5 because averages. The Beast Reacts channel, easily his most profitable one, only spends about $2,000 per video, and this is because, you know, some videos he does 10 grand, some videos no 10 grand, and so he makes about 4 videos a month. It averages down to like $2,000. So now we've got all the liabilities. We're gonna add them up right now, but first let's start with the profits. All of his channels combined, he earns $2.9 million, basically $3 million, and yeah, that's quite a lot of money. His sponsors earn him $1.1 million, pretty good. His merch, as I previously mentioned, earns him $825,000, and his other businesses, Feastables and MrBeast Burger, earn him $750,000 and $810,000 respectively. This adds up to an enormous $6.4 million a month. That's a lot of cheddar. But now we get into the liabilities. He pays his employees an astonishing $469,000 a month. This doesn't even count the language channel. All of his channels combined cost him $2.23 million to run. His language channels, like the translators he pays, cost him $100,000 a month. His rent, as I mentioned, is $1 million a month, and his tax is $2.6 million a month. That adds up to $6.5 million. So we're gonna do the quick math. He earns $6.4 million. He loses $6.5 million, which means on average each month he's earning about negative $100,000. Now this tweet about him saying he runs his channel on a loss is pretty prevalent over here. Yeah, sure, I've probably missed some stuff, but he's probably losing close to this much amount a month. It's a lot of money to be losing. However, we're not even done because he has to pay his 4 friends, himself, and his manager. So we move on to his friends, Chris, Chandler, Carl, and Nolan, himself, Jimmy, and Reed, his manager, who he probably has to pay because who's gonna work for him for free, even though it's for a good cause. You gotta like get food on the table, come on. So let's go on to his 4 friends. Chris, Chandler, Carl, and Nolan. They show up in a lot of videos and they have to get paid because they could be working a job or they could be here recording with Jimmy. And obviously they choose to record with him for money. Now there's this meme where everyone just says that being MrBeast's friend is like the #1 career choice. You'll be like the richest person ever. It's a lie. Myth busted. I'm sorry. Apparently they don't get paid as much. Now I'm taking a guess, okay? But I'm taking like a real hot take. MrBeast is a really nice person. So since MrBeast is a pretty nice guy, he's probably not going to end up paying his friends more than his like other employees because like why should he? I mean, he pays them an exposure. Like Chris, Chandler, Carl, and maybe Nolan in the future, they're gonna have like amazing social media followings because they're basically famous. And Carl himself is his own like boss, okay? He has his own channel, he runs his own thing. He probably doesn't even get paid, but not the point. Point is that Jimmy isn't paying them because he doesn't have to, because at the end of the day, some videos they end up earning money, like those challenges, even though they don't do them anymore, they ended up earning money off of them. So they probably weren't even getting paid back then. They probably are now because most of the videos are like really expensive and they don't really get paid in the video, so they have to get paid like a normal employee. Speaking of normal employee, they're no different and they do the exact same thing. They're just comedians almost, and so they show up, they get paid the same thing. Now yeah, well, the MrBeast channel is probably running in debt. They probably just get paid about $4,480 a month, the same amount as the rest of the employees get paid. And his manager Reed probably gets paid like $5 to $6 grand a month because it's hard to manage a channel with 100 million subscribers, and he definitely deserves it. So with that note, how much money does Jimmy make? Now Jimmy isn't some type of guy to just pay himself more because he's a manager. He gets enough exposure. So Jimmy, first of all, probably doesn't even have to pay himself, but in reality, Jimmy probably pays himself the exact same amount as his friends and or his employees, which is $4,480, which is basically about $22 an hour. So what did we learn today? We learned that you really just cannot trust anyone. You know how everyone thinks that MrBeast is like the richest dude on earth? No, he's not. He pays himself way over minimum wage, yes, but like he's not living the life. Dude's barely hanging on, and in like a few years, if his channel doesn't do amazing, then he might have to leave because he's already running in debt. He earns $1.2 million of debt a year, according to these statistics. I've definitely missed some things, but I can't do anything about that. And so on that note, the only thing I have to tell you is go subscribe to MrBeast because he's on road to hit 100 million subscribers, and it's gonna be amazing. The second ever YouTuber to hit 100 million subscribers. It's gonna be MrBeast.